It's actually really amazing, actually, how young he was a couple of years ago. 15 years old, smacking back a veteran from Brood War days.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Okay, we're getting into it now. The first game is on New Repugnancy, and spawning over in the top right side as our blue Terran, it is SpeCial.
And in the bottom left, the Italian Zerg in the red. He's young, but he's powerful. Represented by Go Sports and Red Bull. This is Reynor.
Well timed, Maynard, well timed.
I'm a professional, mate. Sometimes.
So, New Repugnancy. This is one of the smaller maps in the map pool. Now, who does that really favor? It's difficult to say. We actually saw Hero Marine quite a few times now on the stage, and against both Sword of and Elazer, he kind of whipped out this 2-base pressure build with a really late third CC, and in fact, no third CC at all against Sword of. So I'm wondering how SpeCial's going to go into it.
Yeah, he really had that really strongest 5 barracks on 2 bases, pushing with tons of Marines. It's a very, very strong build indeed. This is one of those maps where I generally feel pretty comfortable against Zerg as a Terran. There's a lot of choke points, you know, that path to the very north of the map where there's generally not much creep, really good tank spot. You have those sort of cliff faces that you can hide your tanks behind while the Zerg, even with all that surface area that Zerg generally likes, you got a place to keep your tanks sort of nestled in and safe while your bio covers them from surrounds and that sort of thing. So it can be quite nice, but of course you can get caught with your pants down with all that surface area in the middle of the map.
And also, what's really cool about this is just like how both these players are probably thinking about this pre-game. Reynor knows he's against SpeCial. This guy will throw everything at him and probably things that he's never seen before. And SpeCial knows that this guy is absolutely one of the best Zerg players against Bio. He was very close to knocking out Maru in the GSL once upon a time before he actually had an exit, I believe, in the round of 16. So going into that, like, what is SpeCial really going to do? Is he going to play Bio? I was talking to him at dinner a few nights ago, and he was talking about if you play Bio perfectly, it is still better than Mech in this matchup, but playing it perfectly, it's a different story.
Perfectly is a very strong word in StarCraft team.
Was that a drone that he killed there?
It might have been, actually.
If so, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that kind of stuff shouldn't be happening, and playing so ballsy with this Reaper, usually its main job is, oh my gosh, getting 2 drones early on. That actually should not happen at this level of play.
This is a Dream Reaper. He's also slowing down the third base. Like this drone from Reynor wants to be getting a third right now, and it doesn't want to get down there because the Reaper is still around. The Queen needs to body block, and Juanito still pressuring that drone back on the high ground.
Oh, and look, Reynor, his money does keep skyrocketing a bit, and he was going to go for the more triangular third there if SpeCial kind of, you know, darted around a little bit, but no, he gets to go back, takes the third, a little bit later than he would like, and SpeCial, he does see that the third isn't in this location.
Yeah.
SpeCial back at home, he's getting Hellions and a second factory in production,
baby.
And a hidden factory at that.
Yeah, hidden 2 factories here. Now, what does this sort of lean towards, Ben? Looks like a lot of Hellions with upgrades, or are we talking about some Cyclones here?
I don't know, Maynard. I'm smiling though. Like, is he going to spend time to get a add-on on it? Is he gonna? He's got a lot of gas, so he could do. Okay, he does. And will it be an early armory to get Hellions into Hellbats? Because he's still producing Marines. I wouldn't be surprised if he just marches across the map with some crazy kind of army. Because there's also one thing that I failed to mention. Reynor often neglects Banelings early on, so maybe that's a weakness that he's seen that he can, you know, freestyle with.
Yeah, cuts a corner a little bit there, and SpeCial very, very good at preparing for his opponents. And it is going to be Hellion into Cyclone, and you don't make these units to sit at home. And their Baneling Nest is actually on the way here for Reynor. So being a little bit more careful in the early stages than he generally would be.
Yeah, that's definitely nice, and it's definitely needed. Blue Flame starts off very early, so if SpeCial's planning did go like, okay, this player's only going to make links to defend, this would be an absolute hard counter. But here, he's just kind of darting around, taking out a drone or 2. So far, SpeCial's doing everything well. I'm really curious about how his build's going to work out, though, because this isn't one that I've often seen at all.
No, I've seen some 2-factory like Blue Flame Hellions. That's why I was asking the question, you know, do they just go for lots and lots of Blue Flame Hellions in the early stage of the game? And then I was thinking, oh, or it's Cyclones, but it's actually both, which is really interesting here. I'm just actually sort of in bated breath, to see how well this goes for Juanito here against Reynor. He's getting that Ling run by, or at least attempting it to, but just losing those Lings to the Hellions, unfortunately.
One of the big things that Reynor needs to do now, because he's been scouting that wall, right, which is normally where the third CC is placed, it isn't there. So he needs to use these Lings for information the best he can. But the thing is, there was 3 Marines behind that wall that kind of signify, oh, it's kind of a bio build, right? Like, it must be. It can't be anything else. But no, it isn't at all. And now, SpeCial's moving out across the map.
He certainly is, and the Cyclones are coming along for the ride as well. Can start picking off for those Overlords. Queens, of course, a little bit more vulnerable to it. And these Hellions are about to have Infernal Pre-Igniter in 4 seconds here, which will make them extremely deadly to the Lings and the Banelings. As long as he doesn't have those Banelings connect with these Hellions, he can kite them all day long.
Well, the Banelings are still pretty good against the Hellions because they're not light armor, so they do tank quite well against the Blue Flame Hellions, as do the Queens. But here, SpeCial, he's not like just going gung-ho, but you see that these Lings, they're getting ready for a wraparound if he can get it. But double armory starts, we have a third CC on the way, and SpeCial, he's not looking to end the game, he's just looking to make his opponent uncomfortable. And this is the thing that he does. He comes from Korea, or rather he's Mexican, but he's been living in Korea, and he throws so many unorthodox styles at you, just making you very uncomfortable.
A lot more Lings on the way here for Reynor. He's leaving him clustered near that natural as well. He needs to worry about this third base. This is actually a convincing amount of Hellions and Cyclones here.
And one of the things, he can't turn them into Hellbats just yet. The armories are close to finishing. I love this, by the way. Just poking with a couple of Hellions, kind of kiting away from the rest of the army. Oh, these Lings, you can't fight toe-to-toe with Blue Flame Hellions. You can't.
Certainly can't. And SpeCial is just tiptoeing the edge of that creep there, making sure that if things get, if it goes from bad to worse, he can pull back to the high ground, which is such a strong position. This is when the Terran is so powerful on this map, when they have no creep up here and they can just poke and pull back to this high ground.
This is such an unusual way of playing, and Reynor's doing everything he can. He's just fighting with the Queens only. He doesn't have Baneling speed. It's only halfway done. SpeCial, he's definitely getting some damage done, also defending at home. We can't forget, he doesn't have a third up yet.
Queens are getting thinned out here. He's down to 3 here at the third base. Used to seeing a lot more static defense here for the Zerg. None really to be seen. He's still making Queens, of course, and SpeCial actually catching some morphing Banelings here. Reynor really wants to set up that flank, but SpeCial just won't let him do it.
No, SpeCial's been so careful about reinforcing his army back home. Hasn't had the depot wall down. Now he feels safe enough to take a third. And a big deal here, he's actually started +1/+1 with mech while being aggressive faster than Reynor has started his upgrades. And even the work account Maynard, it's better for SpeCial.
This is such a strong new build we're seeing from SpeCial here. Maybe it's not new, but I certainly haven't seen it in a lot of these high-level games. Hydra down on the way here for Reynor. So Lingbane Hydra, all pretty stock standard. And it is certainly effective against this unit composition if it can connect with it, but that's a big if.
Like the last time that I saw a 2-factory opening was back when Cyclones were different. When you had like double reactor, attack with the Cyclones and the Hellions and such. So it's very cool to see SpeCial just whip out something like this. And again, just a small group of Hellions just trying to kill the drones here. Now they do get a little bit surrounded here, but trading with the Banelings, that's actually not too bad.
Ooh. Oh, the king of run-bys here, getting those Lings into the third base. True Reynor fashion, and the Banelings getting on top of the SCVs. 20 SCVs, 22 SCVs, just like that. Reynor fighting back in this map.
And just like that, Maynard, Reynor's just made a big swing, and he's well back in the game. He's actually, I think, significantly ahead now. 47 workers to 66, and SpeCial, he's kind of marching across the map here with quite a force.
Yeah, he wants to commit here. He's not happy about that damage. He's like, all right, you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you back. Setting those Cyclones across the map. The Queen's getting locked onto here. They're falling pretty quickly, trying to transfuse each other, try and stay alive. The Ling's trying to get us around. He does surround the army. Can SpeCial punch through this Ling flank? It looks like he can. Trying to pull back to the high ground here to keep a lot of those Cyclones alive.
Even though Reynor got a lot of damage done there, he did drone up quite a bit, and SpeCial's army supply is actually bigger. While going mech, he's also got better upgrades here, so he's doing everything he can to make Reynor's life very, very difficult. Even this floating barracks, by the way, for high ground vision, I love that.
Very, very smart here from SpeCial. He's also starting to throw in a few more tanks as well. Very, very effective tanks in this unit comp against specifically this Hydra style that Reynor is going for. You want to have a good number of tanks here to engage it directly, and with those double upgrades still kicking in, keep in mind that while he did hit the economy very well, the army of SpeCial is so powerful when 2-2 finishes.
And SpeCial's done a really good job of catching back up in that worker count. 62 against 72. Upgrades, he's got 2-2 on the way, I do believe. And he's been starving the middle map of creep. It hasn't yet managed to blossom at all, and we're almost 10 minutes into the game.
Sort of getting caught by and also catching a run by of Banelings here, using a few of those Hellions, but does still have that force without creep and heading towards the third base. Reynor looking like he wants to try and surround it again, or at least head towards this other side of the map with a Ling run by. Reynor just has a clock in his brain, and he's like, all right, run by time.
It's very unusual, by the way, that Reynor's been committing massively to armor upgrades, I feel. Just because most of the time when I see players play against mech, they get all the damage upgrades in here. We have 4 YOLO Hellions.
Line them up. Those drones getting lined up a little bit here for those Blue Flame Hellions. These units also getting caught on the map as well. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to escape if Reynor commits here. And Reynor did lose 9, 10 drones on the other side of the map to these Blue Flame Hellions.
This is actually really good for SpeCial. The fact that he's multitasking and microing on both sides, just making minimal losses. He's well back in the game, equaled out the worker count with just a few small moves and harasses. Even this army is trading as good as it can. This Cyclone minimizing the surface area does fall, but wow, the next phase of Special is here.
Yeah, these 2-2 tanks, man, I was talking about them a few minutes ago, but this is going to hit really hard against these Hydras. Yes, they do have armor upgrades, but against +2 attack tanks, they might as well not exist. They hit so hard.
Well, they have been revealed now.
Yeah.
And what is the counter to tanks?
Vipers.
I mean, yes. So if he can get up Vipers, and he already has them, by the way, like all he needs to do is suck on those buildings, get up some energy. That's how they work. And, oh, I tell you what, though, these Hellions are doing so good at just stopping the run-bys. I mean, it's one run-by that got in, and we saw how much damage it did. So Special, he's making sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, trying to catch all those run-bys and doing a pretty good job of it. Tanks starting to push through the middle map. This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the map here. There is a few areas in this, like this terrain that you can press those tanks up against. This hatchery is so hard to take when the tanks are right here.
Look at that random depot, by the way.
Oh,
the
these
right
Hydras!
Side. Oh, my gosh. That is so much damage. And these Vipers, they will have a few abducts. They also have a few blinding clouds. It depends what he wants to go for. But right now, the army of Reynor doesn't really look that big, and that's an abduct and a blinding cloud for one tank.
It's a lot of energy here just for a single unit, and he doesn't even get that tank there, an abduct for nothing. Loses the hatchery, no cancel either. Reynor's starting to fall apart a little bit here.
And look at this, he's got 2-2 mech upgrades now. These units do not fall very easily. The link count's really low, but what are they going to do against the Hellions? The Vipers, they don't really have enough energy either. And Reynor is going to have to try and make this happen. There is a big flank on the top, though.
Is it a big flank? It looks like it's getting killed by the tanks here.
Mate, it got murdered, it got massacred.
It certainly did. These Hellions getting very low in hit points, and they're sort of the front line here for this army. The tanks quite vulnerable when there's no Hellions to protect them. And there's not that many units from the Zerg, though. I don't know if he actually can punch through this tank line.
He's just man-moding it right now, not even sieging up the tanks. He knows Reynor's on the edge, he's on the ropes, and Special's just pushing through. He's trying to suck out the energy, but there's nothing he can do to save this base. Special's doing it.
He's helping him with the hit points here on these structures. The tanks are just tearing them apart. 11 drones went down. The third base, more drones going down as they try to transfer to the north here. Or rather, the fourth base going towards the third. And Special just continues pushing forward with these tanks. He will not be slowed down.
No, and look at the supplies, 155 to 105. He's also got +3 weapons on the way. This mech army packs a punch, but it's also very hard to kill. There are 4 Vipers out now, but especially he's getting to a point where he's amidst all the rally points of the Zerg, and even the Cyclone is trying to lock down on the Vipers. Oh, this is so rough for Reynor.
Yeah, this is the GG siege location. If you're a mech terror and you get right here on the high ground between the third and the natural, you are just absolutely blasting everything the Zerg sends out, and Special gets game number 1 against the Italian Zerg Reynor. And look at that crowd, man. We were just saying it off camera, but we are actually past seat capacity here. There's a bunch of nerds in the back of the venue just watching. There's so many StarCraft fans here in Kiev.
There absolutely are. There are a few things I have to mention in that game, though. What a weird opening by Special, but it made so much sense against a player that is uncomfortable against mech, or at least way more comfortable against Bio. And then Reynor managing to bounce back. That run-by at the third, then having the Banelings ready, because he knew that his opponent's good enough to pull all his SCVs, but then the 5 Banelings blowing up the 22 SCVs, and the fact that Special just came back after that. Oh, what a way to start off this series.
That was brilliant. Actually, I hope they bring up the eye tracker for that one, because that feels like many, many moments I've had where I'm like, oh, send the SCVs down to the south, and then you don't see those Banelings just pop up from under your console, and they just connect with those SCVs as they're trying to transfer and stack on top of each other. This is unfortunate for Special to lose that many workers, but it didn't really slow him down too much. He had a game plan, and that was just double upgraded mech and just consistently trade against the Zerg with that battle mech army, and then throw in those tanks to start sorting out those Hydralisks.
I just love the opening, Maynard. Like, the 10 Blue Flame Hellions with the 2 Cyclones, that is impossible to engage with any kind of Ling composition, and it takes a long time for the Speed Banes to happen, trying to get creep spread out against that too, because he kind of fought with the Queens constantly. It was just super darn cool, and if you think about the last 12 maps that they played before this, it was 11-1 to Reynor, so that's a great way for a Special to start off.
It's 11-2 now.
Certainly. it's a tall mountain to climb, and Special, he might be the man to do it.
Certainly has the skills to pay the bills. And we're talking about this man in the bottom right, the Mexican Terran. He's basically a Korean Terran at this point. It is Mr. SpeCial himself making it happen. Actually, this is a really good map for that mech style again. Like Hero Marine showing that how strong it can be when you start to control the map a little bit more.
Oh, definitely. Like, it's a huge map, the biggest in the pool. But playing for Gamers Origin, playing as the Red Zerg, playing in the top left, it is Reynor.
He's actually, I'm such a fan of this kid. I love cocky, confident players. And he is certainly one of those.
But not horribly cocky, is it? It's like
no.
a beautiful, like, he is one of the absolute best players in the world. He's 17. And I like his cockiness because he's never rude. He's never like, oh yeah, that guy's bad or anything. It's like, no, I'm just confident, man. I'm like, yeah, I'm a good player.
He's one of the best in the world and he knows it.
Yeah, but not a dickhead about it. Like, he's great. He's great. But yeah, he's really like blasted onto the scene. You know, I remember when he was 14, waving at cameras. But we've got to see that young man grow up. You know, like new haircut, new glasses, new shirts. Everybody's talked about it.
His clothes getting more and more expensive, more and more streetwear designer brand as he gets to every event. He's going to roll up in a Lamborghini one day, this kid.
And if StarCraft 2 keeps going the way it is for him, it's not going to be long either. Like.
Yeah, well, he has to catch the several Lamborghini garage of Cyril at this point, making about $500,000 last year.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So Acropolis, or Acropolis as some people say, this is one of the larger maps in the pool, if not the largest. This is one that's very difficult for run-bys, given that getting into the main base and getting into the natural is the same path. Run-bys in general, if you just block off the wall at the top of your third and then expand in a triangular motion down to the left, there's not really that many ways in for those run-bys. I am very curious, again, as to what SpeCial's going to do, purely because opening up like that in the first game and seeing how well it worked out against Reynor, I can't see him not just going mech every game in this series.
He's so good at it. Him and TY, very, very similar players. Of course, TY, the incredible Korean Terran, is doing very well over in GSL.
This is something that Terrans have been doing newly, by the way. Like, this has only kind of like popped up in the last few months where an SCV comes out, it scouts just to make sure that you're safe, and then just sits there and blocks the third base, just making life quite difficult for your opponent. And you already see that drone didn't get to pop down to third where it wanted.
Yeah, this Reaper's still trading nicely, and that SCV is basically where you want to take your third as a Zerg. You don't want to take your third anywhere else. SpeCial knows that, so being very, very annoying here with this Reaper. The Lings of the Queen's getting closer and closer to that third base location, though, and this Reaper only one shot from death, so... Oh, that grenade, just delaying things a little bit further here. Seconds do count in StarCraft 2, and SpeCial's certainly getting a few more seconds here. Yeah,
and this time he can just regenerate with his Reaper. Now he starts the third hatchery, but we've seen hatcheries start as early as like 220 in this matchup, and that's kind of what you want to go for. Oh, an Overlord Speed starts early for Reynor, and this is a huge map, and I kind of like this play. You just played against a guy that threw one of the weirdest builds I've seen in TVZ at you, so you just want to make sure, like, okay, what's happening this time? Because if I'm ready, getting into the late game, or rather getting to a mid-game kind of area is where I want to be.
And he's got those extra Marines popped out here in the early game. Getting that starport, no tech love at the barracks just yet. Are we looking at another BC opening here? Is he going to take a page out of Big Gabe's book?
Who knows? I mean, Big Gabe said he got it from the Koreans. And
there it is.
Big Papi is basically a Korean at this point. So seeing how this lines up with the Overlord Speed and the BCs will get scouted, the late third and such, what you really want to opt for with this or against this is getting a lot of Queens and having multiple spores at each base.
Yeah, it's the way to get it done. And Overlord Speed cannot be stopped by a couple of Marines here, so it looks like Reynor is going to see what he needs to see. The Fusion Core right up against the edge there in the main, so he's going to be able to see that. There it is. Do you cancel this as a Terran, or do you just keep going?
Oh, you keep going. We're not Protosses, Maynard. We can't just switch out of something. But no, you keep on going, because even if they see this, it requires a response. Like, you have to respect it, which means extra Queens, you have to make the spores, you have to slow down yourself a little bit. But he's just confirming, just in case he was going to cancel it. So Reynor is definitely on top of the scouting.
So usually to deal with this, a lot of Queens, and if you really want to feel safe, multiple spores per base, but it does cut into your drone count, and at this level, you really want to cut as many corners as possible.
Some of the main questions going on in Reynor's mind is it going to be one BC or more than one? Because a lot of Terrans do a lot of different stuff. We do have a third CC on the way as well. It's definitely going to be a macro game, and constantly Reynor is just checking out what's going on. Yeah, it's really, really good clinical scouting by him.
That's right, very, very nice. And usually with Yamato and those extra gases in the natural, you do expect to have a mech follow-up here for SpeCial. He did so well with mech in the last game, I can't see why he wouldn't do that. You know, there's Hellions just poking the outside here, trying to catch creep tumors at this point. He's not expecting a massive drone line kill or anything like that, especially on Acropolis. It's so hard to do because of these ramps and the high ground that the Zerg has.
Again, by the way, prioritizing the armor upgrade first. I mean, if it's against Bio, that is absolutely the correct choice. But against mech, I'm not so sure about that. But we'll see. Okay, an armory does more so far. Probably going to be followed by another one, given the size of the map and given that it worked in the first game. And Yamato starting as well. So that means it's probably going to be more than just one BC. Or it's a fake for this Overlord.
So it's Yamato and Acropolis, or Yamato and Acropolis. depending on who you are.
Let's just mix it all up. But this BC does flop in.
Yeah, it takes a lot of damage here from the Queens.
Definitely not a successful BC so far. Like, he gets a little bit of a scout off, but...
Yeah, I mean, it is still alive, which is great, but not being able to find any kills at all, that's certainly not an effective opening just yet.
Might be able to get a few Overlords around here. I mean, they do have speed, so they should be able to avoid, but that is just a distraction.
Surrounds here with his lanes with a few of these Hellions. Quite a few Hellions, though, so he might be able to kill them anyway, especially with these reinforcements.
These Lings did a lot better against that than I thought. I thought they were all just going to get melted, but the Queens do join, and they do deflect the Hellions. No real damage being done. So many Queens. This is like 10 on the map or something like this.
Yeah, there's so many Queens. He's really respecting that BC opening, and it helps against the Hellions as well. They're looking for that drone line. Reynor all over this with the Queens. The drone's not getting pulled here, so maybe not respecting this enough. Hellions trying to get on that drone line. They've killed 2 so far, but if you can clean up all these Hellions and only lose 2 drones, great defense from Reynor.
10 Hellions for 2 drones.
And another dead one. Oh, Puppy. Couple of mistakes here, and Reynor, very nice defense.
We say mistakes, but behind this, he has been economying like a madman. 62 workers to 67. And also, the fact that he has like a few BCs on the field now, he's going to be constantly making Hellions. In fact, how many Hellions does he have? Because that's quite a lot of Lings coming at him, but should be able to get too much done against this. Only 4, but the BC support, that helps out.
And the multiple BCs, we've seen them several times here in this tournament, how strong they are in a stand-up fight when they do start to move out. Reynor confirming that it is indeed mech here. Juanito is going up into 5 factory production.
One really big thing there too was he saw the starport still producing, so this isn't just a 1 BC transition. This is going to be a big 5 BC army, but he's in the he's in the 3rd base, Maynard.
And the SCVs are turning and fighting, so the Lings are starting to cut through them. Not that many Hellions either. He's killing so many SCVs here. 20 of them again. 20 SCV kills one more time. 2 games in a row here for Reynor. And these BCs, they were kind of attacking the infestation pit and the main base. SpeCial not really microing those SCVs because he was worried about that counterattack.
These BCs haven't been able to get anything done, and it's not because SpeCial's bad, it's because Reynor's done everything right within regards to how many Queens he made. In fact, how many does he have on the map right now? Because he's making 2 more. 8 Queens.
It's a lot of Queens.
And I think 2 of them got Yamato'd as well, so...
Yeah, they certainly did. And that means lots of creep spread usually as well, so Terra needs to get on creep cleanup duty. That's a juicy scan right there if he wants to get rid of all those creep shimmers. And a couple of them do finish on that high ground. And it looks like he's just going to let that be for now. And Infestation Pit obviously done. We're seeing Neural Parasite being researched here for Reynor. Very strong upgrade versus those battle cruisers.
I'm really liking a lot of what Reynor's doing here. Like, you can tell just by the creep spread how much more comfortable he is this game, and how little pressure SpeCial's really been able to put on him. He's been able to get out a pretty darn good drone count at 85. He's also expanding. He's getting up to Hive Tech. He's also getting Neural Parasite.
Ron Reynor's vision here, looking at those Infestors, hawking them and getting them ready for the fight here, keeping on top of those BCs. Reynor not even looking at the minimap right now. He's very focused on those battle cruisers, trying to avoid damage, but of course you can't really stop Yamatos from killing those Queens.
That was a really clutch blink out as well, or teleport out, because as soon as that fungal hits, you saw it in the midair, he blinked away. It would have stopped him from being able to do that, so a nice save by SpeCial.
Yeah, certainly. Hive halfway done here for the Italian Zerg. Tier 3, very scary for those mech units. He starts the Spire as well, so Broodlords are going to be on the menu eventually here for Reynor, but off the back of some Infestor play in the early stages of the game. Such a strong unit to add in. Hellions really not getting too far here. Going to look to pick off a Queen. That's always nice.
Oh, will he?
Or even will he get anything? The Link surrounding here in Reynor, clearing it SpeCial off the map. The Reynor has just been dominating this map on this side, by the way. He just will not let the Terran get an inch.
He's just so much more comfortable, this map, and the creep spread. He's got so much more vision. Hellions can't just poke him from any angle. You talked about it earlier. It's much harder to harass on this map. The Infestors, by the way, I'm so impressed by Reynor. A few months ago, he wasn't using this unit at all. And now you see him massing it up and in a really good fashion too. Making lots of drones. He's just doing everything right. He's making SpeCial's life so difficult.
And he's nearly got creep on the front doorstep of that 4th base of SpeCial as well. The BCs are going to the north side. Look like they're going to try and hit the main base and then tactical jump back if they're needed. And Reynor gearing up for another one of his signature run-bys. But there is a depot wall in there at the 3rd. The Infestors ready for those battle cruisers. They would love to get a Neural here and kill all 3 of them.
It would be beautiful. A Neural or Fungals with Infested Terrans. I think here, he's kind of okay trading out these Ravagers and stuff. Especially for tanks. Juicy files.
Yeah, gets rid of a few tanks. There's only 1 remaining. The Planetary, of course, not really expected to kill that, but the BC's tactical jump down to the south here, avoiding the Infestors. They're still alive and they're still putting in damage. The Infestors are playing ping pong here, going from the north to the south to try and catch these BCs. And SpeCial's going to have to keep an eye on them, or he will lose them to these Neural Parasites.
The Neurals do land. Oh, beautiful. He Yamato'd beforehand, so the Yamato still go off. So these Infestors actually got murdered, and he takes out the base as well.
He does get the base. The Infested Terrans, though, are going to kill a couple of these BCs. Actually, one of them pulls back. Bile's looking to try and connect. SpeCial managing to keep out of the Bile range there. A little while until Tactical Jump is off cooldown, but they are still continuing to do a little bit more damage.
Okay, and there was a little bit of Hellion harass going on there, but I think that was actually quite worth it for SpeCial. Another Yamato comes online, takes out a Queen here, and he's just kind of cruising around the bases, just taking out drones wherever he can.
And he flies over another Queen here. The Battlecruiser's so low in hit points. They kill another Queen! These units are putting in work here for SpeCial, and he almost has Tactical Jump in a minute here, or in a few seconds. One goes down the tail end, and that should go down to the Queen in the main. There we go.
So they are dealt with. Now SpeCial has like a quite good ground army against that of Reynor. We have a lot of Lings, we have Ravagers, and we probably have a few Banelings in the mix, but Reynor, he's getting ready. He's got Corruptors in the making, and that Great Aspire is almost online.
And the Great Aspire is a problem for SpeCial. He really doesn't have too many Broodlord countermeasures. He's only got the one Thor, although he is starting to produce them. He knows the timing of those Broodlords. Takes an all-right trade there against those Lings, and also hammers these Ravagers. Still trying to deal with this big Zerg carpet in the middle of the map.
Does SpeCial know about the Great Aspire here? Like, the fact that he's making a few thoughts... No, okay, he hasn't seen the Spire at all, but he does see these Broodlords morphing, so he knows what he's up against.
Oh, BC's in trouble.
Will it even get out of that? No!
Nope.
It just decided. It gave up on life right there.
There it is. Saw the Broodlords, killed one of the Broodlord cocoons. We've got one morphing here on the front line for Reynor as well, and there's only one Thor, so it may actually finish.
This is getting kind of dicey now, because we have 3 Infestors in the mix. We do have Broodlords, but this doesn't look like a 200 supply army of Reynor right now, and he does have a lot of Lings at the bottom side of the map, so wondering what these guys are going to get up to.
Run-bys, mate. It's always run-bys.
That's quite a chunk, too.
Oh, no.
No.
No. All right, well.
I think is it still going to happen?
No, come on. All right, well, Baneling's killing 7 SCVs there. It could have been a lot worse than that if Reynor caught that transfer when they were all stacked on top of each other. A Hellion run-by not doing anything here for SpeCial. He's making 5 Thors at once, and he definitely needs a lot of Thors here to be able to push back those Broodlords.
Like, his supply is kind of deceiving with that amount in production, right? And even using the Overseer here to try and delay the factory production, because it's the Thors that he's going to be scared about. Now, he is kind of delaying himself here. The Broodlords aren't yet doing the damage that they need to be doing, but he's going for this outside peripheral base here instead.
He kills the tanks covering it as well, so that base is certainly in trouble. SpeCial trying to cut the Zerg army off as he takes that high ground back from the creep of Reynor. But until these Thors are kind of out and in big enough numbers with their anti-Broodlord single-target air damage mode, he really can't go too far here on creep.
Okay, so SpeCial, I thought he was going to take down that wall then. I was like,
no,
are you sure you want to open up another path for these run-bys and stuff?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. Baneling's rolling off forward, SpeCial trading nicely there against those Banelings. The Broodlings coming on in. He does have a couple Thors in this army, so they are pushing back the Broodlords. Keep in mind, they're also pretty heavily upgraded. Oh, the run-bys of Reynor. He's in again, a tank all by itself. It has another tank covering it, but these SCVs taking a fair bit of damage here.
Certainly, and Reynor, he's on the retreat, actually. Like, there's a lot of Thors here. I don't think there's any SCVs to come and, like, heal the army to keep it going, but he's morphing a lot of Banelings and trying to make a lot of Zerglings, too.
Catching a Thor being reinforced there. He does have Hellbats on the front line, which will help him against those Broodlings, but look at his Zergs around. Can he pile down some of these big hit point units? The Thor's getting hit here as well. Reynor, does he have enough units to push this back? The BC goes down. The Thors are left on their own. I think he's going to push this way back.
Way back, and SpeCial... GG's out right there and then. The run-by did too much damage and he killed the main army. I tell you what, that was a really good game by Reynor, like really good.
That was so sick. Such a good game from Reynor. And we have got ourselves a series. 1 map in the bag for either of these players on stage. Not going to be a 3-0 this time, and that gets me so excited for Game 3. These players look really closely matched.
SpeCial did a way more orthodox, like normal, regular opening this game, and it didn't pay off at all. You saw how Reynor was way more happy dealing with that. He got the Overlord speed, kept on scouting, and kept, like, he was in the know the whole time about what he was up against, and he dealt with it beautifully. Not one time, really, did these BC attacks do that much, besides in the bottom left. Early on, I'm on about. So he really got to get to, like, 85, 90 drones. The whole time he was very comfortable. If I'm SpeCial, I dig deep in the pockets, and I look for something a little bit crazy again, I think.
Yeah, those innovative Korean builds, I was talking about a little bit before, but he is so like TY. They're very, very close friends, and TY is an innovator. SpeCial, no different. Very, very good at coming up with new builds to shape the meta.
Oh, definitely. Like, I often feel like TY and SpeCial, they'll come out to a tournament and pop out a new build. I mean, the fact that he popped out with that 2 factory build in the first game, I haven't seen that many of Special's games this tournament, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was if he was saving that kind of stuff specifically for a player like Reynor.
Reynor with an incredible win rate here against SpeCial in general. We've got some lovely signs out there in the crowd, some love for their favorite players and their favorite Russian commentators as well. Good stuff from the crowd here in Kiev.
Alex, he's the man.
He's the man.
And we're going to be getting right on into the third game here. Currently tied 1-1 apiece. This is a best of 5, ladies and gentlemen. We have, spawning as the blue Terran in the top left, it is SpeCial.
And in the bottom right, the Italian Zerg in the red, fighting back on Acropolis. Can he take the map lead here in the series on King's Cove? This is Goes Reynor.
This is one of those maps, by the way, and we have to talk about what's happening here, Maynard.
Yes.
Do you see that cheeky blue
I
spot?
certainly do. I'm looking at that mini-map.
This could be gnarly. This could be gnarly. One of the kind of taxing things about the 2 racks on this map is that natural of the Zerg base. It has a tight choke at the top of it, so I've seen Terrans utilize that so well, even like double bunker blocking it and such, just to make the Zerg's life even more difficult. And it isn't a super duper all-in, like he's not going to commit to 20 bunkers or anything like ridiculous, because he is making the gas already, but it's definitely, obviously going to be some bunker pressure here.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it.
Ooh!
Oh, the Overlord pathing here of Reynor. He is going to see it eventually.
Oh, or is he? Oh, man.
Oh, corrected the pathing here, so it looks like SpeCial might thread the needle.
Definitely, definitely. That SCV did go unnoticed so far. That Overlord, okay, so he gets to see the natural immediately, and a bunker does start, and so far, is he going to see?
Oh, yes, that's a big tell right there.
Okay, how quickly does he pull drones? Because now he knows something's up, and immediately,
he goes thinking it.
Okay, that's a bit indecisive, actually. Like, these bunkers, every second counts.
Yeah, he needs to go now, as those Marines start to walk up the ramp. Trying to push back this Marine, killing the SCV, a big target here. He can't let these bunkers finish, or the natural is in big jeopardy.
And look at this target fire by SpeCial, by they're getting the far away drone. Nice micro by him.
Yeah, certainly nice micro on both sides for both players. And losing a lot of hit points there on that one drone. Reynor with a lot of drones here on the low ground. Looks like the bunker is going to finish as well, Ben. This is a little bit rough for Reynor.
Yeah, ideally you want to stop that from ever producing, but very different Zergs have different responses to dealing with this. And you see SpeCial, he's just kind of looking, can I get a drone? Can I get a Ling? Can I stop that spine from even producing in the first place? And now I think he's looking to probably like think about settling down a little. Oh, Reaper follow-up? Okay,
what?
This is awesome. This is awesome.
You wanted something a little bit tricky, and I think we're getting it right here, Ben. The Reaper follow-up from SpeCial. He is going to expand by the looks of things. He's got his camera hotkey set up. He does have that money for the command center and the natural, but he's not going to let the Zerg get out of his natural and pressure that at all.
Certainly not. I mean, this is enough Lings to deal with that bunker, I do believe, and he's just kind of giving it up. He gets away. The bunker's still taking shots from the Queens, by the way, not being salvaged just yet, but the next wave of attacks is to come, and he will get the salvage off most likely here, but dealing with the Reapers when you've not committed to getting speedlings, that gets a bit tough.
It certainly does. So no speed being taken here for Reynor. He doesn't have that 100 gas just yet, so the Reapers can still dance around these slow Lings. There's so many Lings, but they're only a problem if they're in melee range with the Reapers trying to avoid that. A third command center for SpeCial as well being made right now. Oh, the greed. Follow-up.
I love it, though. He's already got a little bit of a workers supply lead, and I mean, that will be not lasting for a long time, given that the Zerg is now on 2 base. But he has to do something kind of drastic to not get back into the game, but just to keep up with the tempo of what he's been doing so far against his opponent.
Using the KD8 grenades to dance those Lings away from the Reaper. And just similar to Hero Marine on this map, he did go for a proxy Reaper opening and use that proxy barracks to just plant right on the 3rd base for the Zerg to slow down the economy of the Zerg. And he darts quite deep into the main, but again, these aren't speedlings. They do have that surround the Reapers, but there's that ledge, and they just escape. Oh, you're kidding me.
By the skin of his teeth. And going for the 3rd CC, by the way, it makes total sense. Like, you know your opponent doesn't have speed. He doesn't have any way to launch any sort of attack, and double factory coming in. I love this kind of transition from SpeCial.
Yeah, we got some cool new builds being thrown out here. I mean, a proxy is not a new build, but the kind of proxy we're seeing is specifically what I'm talking about, this flavor of proxy from SpeCial in a follow-up. Certainly something a bit different. Lots of Lings from Reynor. He's making tons of them right now.
Wow. Yeah, I'm very curious as to what he's going for. Like, does he think it's more of a Reaper committal than it actually is? I mean, he has to know it's not because this barracks is here. Now, this is quite a good scout by SpeCial. A, he gets to see the 3rd going down, but B, he saw that speed still wasn't completely done. And I do think that Reynor, making those Lings and now making the drones afterwards, I think he's like just a bit unsure about how to handle this game, honestly.
Yeah, feeling a little bit uneasy here, just based on what we've been seeing. And I like this little depot positioning in front of that bunker as well. Like, even though he doesn't have a wall off, it's hard to engage that natural here for Reynor.
And the bunker kind of covers the ramp to his main as well. It's a really nice position.
Certainly. Barracks offering a bit of position here. SpeCial doesn't need barracks anymore. He's all about that mech life. Blue Flame on the way here for those factories. The Marine also pushing back that Overlord. Does have that pillar to hide on, though. And still using that one of those proxy barracks to just have a bit of a scout here.
I'm really liking the economic position of SpeCial. Like 40 workers to 48, you get to see that the third base isn't up and running. You get to see no lair in the main base, which is where you'd mainly put it. Like, he's not going to be feeling scared at all, and he's got 3 factories already up. He's getting Blue Flame, which isn't a cheap upgrade by any means, and he feels safe enough to just go take the third. It's looking quite good for SpeCial so far.
Yeah, has a lot of advantages here. Down a little bit in workers, but he's got a third on location before the Zergs is even finished. Roach Warren follow-up for Reynor. These Hellions don't have Blue Flame just yet, and he does get a bit of a surround here. Ooh. Nice catch from Reynor.
He does kind of break out of it with the Reaper grenades, which is a big deal here. Keeping most of them alive too. The Reaper kind of tanking, but that was a really good trade for Reynor. Yeah, the thing is, it should have never went that good. And Blue Flame, it's like 10 seconds away from finishing just now.
Yeah, just a second of inattentiveness there from SpeCial. Reynor capitalizing on it. As the lair begins here for the Zerg, once again, prioritizing armor again, Ben, with that Evo chamber going down.
Just very curious play, honestly. Like, he hasn't seen what's going to happen, like with the Blue Flame and such, but he's been seeing a lot of Hellions pile out. The thing is, it did start off with a proxy 2-racks that went bunker rush into Reapers and stuff, so the whole game, like, I feel that Reynor's a little bit thrown off, but he's taken a 4th, he's droning up really good, but now it's about how does he deal with this kind of army.
It's a little bit of an annoying army to deal with. Blue Flame Hellions, and he's primarily got Lings and Queens, and those Cyclones are more than happy to see an army like that.
Roaches.
Yeah, the Roaches are beginning. So you had that Roach Warren earlier. They do help a bit, but they certainly want to be fighting on creep here. Like, this is a bit of an awkward army to engage into still.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Roaches are obviously way better against the Hellions and the Hellbats, but they don't do well against the Cyclones. They need a mix. Like, you get the Ravagers out, you get the Infestors out, that kind of stuff.
Is this hatchery ever going to happen? It's like Terrans keep killing it every time we see it on this map. Ling's hitting a bit of a wrap around the back, but there's not enough Lings to actually keep him in place, so SpeCial just taps on out.
SpeCial's playing really patient, and look at the supplies as well. Like, Terran should never be ahead in this kind of situation, and Roaches, in fact, they don't have speed, right? No, they don't.
He only just finished his lair a few seconds ago.
And speed's not even on the way either. I think these Roaches were initially made just to become Ravagers almost instantly, but SpeCial's not giving him the time of day at all.
And dancing around with these Roaches and pushing out to the edge of that creep, and every time he locks on, that is a dead Roach, more often than not.
Oh.
Oopsie daisies.
Just shot his own Cyclone.
That's yours, mate.
I'm giving you a chance. I'm so bloodthirsty.
A clicking all over the place, and we have an Infestation Pit also going down quite quickly for Reynor. As soon as the lair finished, he wanted that Infestation Pit quite quickly here. So you feeling Swarm Hosts from the Zerg?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I think he's just going to try and
maybe Infestors, actually, for Battle Mech.
Oh, I feel he has to just make a lot of units of like any sort of tech, like mainly low tier, just to survive against this, because right now he can't be thinking about the next stage of the game. He has to be thinking about surviving now, because SpeCial, he's eking out a pretty big supply.
The Banelings pushing him into creep here. This could be Reynor's moment to get the connections. Oh.
I mean,
not quite.
No, I mean, that's quite costly. Like, Banelings aren't a cheap unit. They're supply efficient, sure, but they're not cheap at all. Behind this, SpeCial's opting for a 4th CC. He's getting the +1/+1 upgrades. He's also starting, or rather, he's going to have that Cyclone upgrade done pretty soon. His army just gets significantly stronger with that 1/1.
Yeah, extra factory production going down for SpeCial. 1/1 about to be done here, and he'll be going straight in the 2/2. Oh, okay. So the Swarm Host, or actually no Swarm Host, but just the Nidusworm coming down here for Reynor. So he's going to look and try and hurt the other side of the map here for the Terran. Starts the Swarm Host now, so 4 of them are on the way. It's not a huge number just yet. Reynor actually doesn't have that much gas in the bank to keep making these big, scary locust spawning units.
I mean, they are like super mineral heavy, right? Like 100 to 75, but they're very, very supply inefficient. Each one is 3 supply, so the supply counts are quite deceiving here. Now, Swarm Host can be like really good against certain kinds of mech, like the tank styles of mech, which is actually what SpeCial's going for behind all this. So I think it's kind of a nice idea by Reynor, and it's a unit that can be extremely efficient. It's just, how do you make things happen?
Well, he's going for the most popular Swarm Host location here to the south of that natural, where he's going to start launching off those locusts. It's just a few Swarm Hosts. There's the rest. Okay, so he's just sort of piecemeal trickling in these locusts instead of sending them in one giant swarm. but there's not really anything in his natural to push back the Locust, so the SCVs are just going to walk on out of there.
I do like the retreat. I also like the focus fire of the armory, because if he can get down that armory, that would be super darn cool, and it's getting real close.
Yeah, nicely done. Denies +2 weapons there. Doesn't get both armories like a laser did against Hero Marine, but that's still a very nice pick off. Anything he can do to slow down the Terran.
Yeah, SpeCial has to get a hold of this Nidus play. He needs Cyclones in the right locations, but this is extremely close to his base, and he is going to spot it, but not before a wave goes off. Yeah,
that Locust wave's going to hit that third base here. Only a few dead SCVs. But it looks like he has enough units to cover this and then some.
Locust dying that fast pleases my eyes, Maynard.
Sure it does.
By the way, like, this has bought Reynor a lot of time to just kind of breathe a little bit, get up to 5 bases. He is taking a 5th and just get a unit together, but SpeCial, it looks like he's had enough, honestly.
The Baneling's trying to go for a bit of a flank here. SpeCial does actually eat a bit of a Baneling connection right there. Wow, that was a lot better for Reynor than I thought it would be.
It definitely was. Those Banelings, they waited until the last possible minute for the biggest clump they could get and dealt a lot of damage. And SpeCial, he marches back home with his tail between his legs.
Yeah, he really wanted that front line of Hellions, and they've just been thinned out. The Swarm hosts are a huge problem for him if he doesn't have those Hellions to try and keep those tanks alive.
I do like this Nidus play. Like, he's being kind of unrelenting with it, right? Like, his supply's at 200, so all he wants to do right now is trade out, like, his worst units and just be annoying, and that's exactly what he's doing. Behind everything, he's getting a Spire, he's getting Hive, and he's continuous with pressure.
Yeah, the Link's going for a bit of a run by here, but the tanks catch them in the Hellions, and Reynor actually sees that Terran's moving to the south, so he's going to try and engage and wait for him to get a little bit deeper and creep and push back these tanks, but they have that cliff face to try and protect themselves.
I'm definitely a little bit scared for Reynor if this army sets up very well, because it is a scary army. These Lings are kind of wasted as well at that PF, and these tanks, they've started to get into position where they can flak down the 5th, but the Swarm hosts, they will be coming from the north.
Yeah, and he sees those Locusts coming on in. SpeCial trying to get into hellbat mode to protect these tanks. Will it be enough? The Locusts picking up 1 tank, 2 tank going down, 3 tank. And those Biles getting a couple of those stacked up tanks as well, knocking him down from a lot of tanks to 3. Does Reynor have enough to actually clean this up, though? He's actually still getting pushed back.
The thing is, 30 of his supply can't do anything right now in those Swarm hosts, right? So he does lose his 5th behind all of this. And SpeCial, he's not slowing down. This is a lot of Cyclone Hellion. We talked about it. Swarm hosts are great against the tanks, but against the Cyclone mech, not at all. And SpeCial, he's moving in.
He is getting in range of that hatchery. It could be another dead hatchery if he gets those lock-ons. Of course, he is dancing with the Ravagers right now, but there's the lock-ons here, heading towards that hatchery, hitting that natural, or rather hitting the mineral line here with those Hellbats, doing a lot of drone damage. 13 drones going down here for Reynor. His economy knocked down to 69. He was in the 80s before. SpeCial still dancing with these Locusts. He's got to pull back off creep.
SpeCial supply is really, really good. It's 173, but he can make really valuable units. So he can choose to just make tanks, cyclones, whatever he pleases. He still has a few tanks to the south here that he can reinforce with, but honestly, I feel like the damage that he wanted to get done is done. And he's got a huge gas bank behind all this, too.
He certainly does. Quite common for Terran to have a large gas bank in the late stages of the game. This Nidus Worm actually blocks this CC from being dropped, and also, SpeCial does see it, so he's going to send a lot of units to engage. Reynor not actually doing anything with the Swarm host just yet.
He is getting a Crater Spire, though. Like, that is one way to try and deal with this mech, but anyway, we did see that in great fashion in the second game. Like, it was only the Thors that could really fight, but another Nidus there. Take one down, there's always another one.
That's right. It's like the Hydra. Cut off one head and 2 more spawn in its place.
Infestors are being made, so they don't have the Pathogen Gland upgrade just yet, but they will definitely help with dealing with this Cyclone, or very Cyclone-heavy mech style. And it looks like he's making Roaches and Ravagers, so he's really hoping to hit like a dream fungal bio combo by the looks of it.
Gets me worried, though. The tank count of SpeCial is still so high. I'm not seeing that many Vipers here from Reynor either. And Infestors really don't do that great against tanks, especially with their upgrades. Like, these tanks, they're on their way to having 3-3 to Muslim.
Yeah, they're not going to take much damage from these Lings or these Banelings or these Ravagers even. And 2 Cyclones, they do catch the run by, but he's just baiting him back into the tanks in this fight. This is really good play by SpeCial.
Huge splash damage on the Zerg units here. The Infestors do get a lovely fungal. SpeCial splitting as well as he can, but you can't really split too greatly. But it does well enough to keep a lot of his units alive. Locust hitting this base here for SpeCial. Can, of course, be lifted, so I don't think it's going to go down. Link's coming on the backside. I like this from Reynor. I like where his head's at to get these tank kills.
And they're doing a really good job, actually. It takes out 3, maybe 4 of the tanks, but Reynor supply is dwindling, and again, 150 supply, but a lot of it is in Swarm host. So this 4th, it's probably going to go down at this point, and that is a lot of drones falling to those Hellions too.
Yeah, the economy of Reynor is not that good anymore, down to 57. And SpeCial just continuing to be a Terran macro powerhouse right now. 3-3 upgrades halfway done, and that's going to be the death sentence here for Reynor if he doesn't get these Broodlords or Vipers or something tier 3 to fight back here against this powerful army of SpeCial.
Like, it is absolutely an anti-ground army by SpeCial. There isn't really anything that shoots up beside the Cyclones, but they don't do well against the Broodlords. But with this last Locust Wave, finally using them to defend, he does kind of clean up the army of SpeCial and buys himself a little bit of breathing time.
Yeah, he gets that wave, but I'm more worried about the next wave here to Muslim. It does look like we're going to have some Broodlords in the way as the Corruptors are getting built for Reynor. He feels like he has breathing space, that he's knocked the Terran down enough to have the time to get these Broodlords, which are certainly going to be very, very important here.
This might be one of the most annoying Hellions of all time.
Oh, these drones.
Oh, there's a lot of them. He does burrow, but SpeCial, he saw it, takes out more drones here. Will be focus firing them by the looks of it, and cleans up a Nidus on his side of the map too. Yeah, he's multitasking really well.
I mean, he's one of the best multitaskers in the business. 3-3 is going to complete here for this mech army. The Broodlords are on the way. SpeCial still making Hellion Cyclone, which is okay against Broodlords, but not that great. So you definitely want to start throwing in the Thors in the mix, but SpeCial's going for the scan. He actually saw the Broodlords, I believe. So we might be seeing some Thors next after these Cyclones are completed.
I think he should, honestly. Like, that gas bank, by the way, that's kind of unheard of. I know I see that stuff kind of a lot with Bio, but it just says to me that he needs more orbitals or something to try and catch up with his gas income.
Certainly. The Planetary getting surrounded by the Locusts. He's trying to target fire it down, but the Hellions are in place. Get rid of those Locusts and he repairs them on up.
He's done a really good job of dealing with these Locusts, actually. And Reynor, he's been very, very consistent about trying to deal damage with them. But so far, the best Locusts that he's used have been in the defense as opposed to the aggression. But that's the thing, right? You have to play so different against a mech player. And Reynor, he's the kind of guy that likes to be in your face all the time with the run buys. And sometimes it can work, but mech's a totally different style of play.
Cyclone lock on here, a double Cyclone lock on. Should get rid of this Night Swarm before it becomes a problem for him. So that's going to go down. Reynor not getting that strategy to work out for him here. This attack from SpeCial actually looks so scary. Even though he has Broodlords, that's a lot of Cyclones.
It certainly is. And these Roaches, that isn't enough to deal with that. It slows down the attack a little bit, I suppose. But, and he's just kind of forwarding this base immediately. He knows it's too much SpeCial for now. And the Broodlord's kind of out of position here.
Fungal goes down, but only hitting a few of those units. SpeCial dancing back in time. In come the Broodlings here from Reynor. One Hellion just pulling into the natural here, finding some drones for free. And he gets the hatchery kill as well and starts to pull back. Really nice plays here from SpeCial. Oh, he's going to lose the Planetary.
Is he?
Oh, just keeps it alive. Incredible stuff. Big repair and great fast hands here from SpeCial.
And behind all this, 5 Thors in production. He's also making starports. He's really respecting the Broodlords this game. The thing is, the upgrades are so low for Reynor too, like trying to battle against these high-tech units and also the amount of them and the fact that SpeCial's so rich behind this compared to what Reynor is, this is a really, truly rough spot to be in.
Triple starport also being dropped here for SpeCial. He's certainly gearing up for any phase of the late game here.
Triple refinery as well when you've got a 3k gas bank. I don't know about that SpeCial, but
I don't know if it'll matter. We've got those Broodlings getting into the tank count, which is always nice. The Hellions breaking off into the natural, looking for drone kills, and they're finding them as well.
Oh, this kind of damage, it's unacceptable at this point in time. 15 drones go down. He's trying to deal damage again, but he needs to focus on his defense at this point. But that's a lot of Locusts. I think he's going to get this base now.
Yeah, finally does get that Planetary. Yes, if he's not able to save that one. Good pick off there for Reynor, but he's taking so much more damage on his side of the map. SpeCial still with a very large army. Does have a few of those units on the front line getting killed by the Broodlings. The Lings also surrounding these tanks. They're caught out of position without any front line. Reynor actually has the ability to take a really good fight, but I don't know if he can do it across the map, which means SpeCial should be able to replenish his economy.
What happened to the supplies? Where did SpeCial's army go? Did he just sack it all to kill that base? Because that's all well and good, SpeCial, but we still have to be careful because your supply is very even with your opponent despite him being kind of down in the gutter economically.
Another Nidus here behind the mineral line of this base. SpeCial is just making a big cloud of Vikings here, so he's expecting more Vipers, expecting more Broodlords and that sort of thing, and Vikings certainly can help with that. Good fungal from Reynor. Going to try and stop these Hellions from getting any further into his creep.
A really good fungal, but also he's on the other side of the map and he's doing damage with the Locust, the Swarm Host, and this PF. Will it survive? I don't think so. That's a lot of Locusts, and yet again, but it's getting really close.
Repair.
Wow.
Gets the repairs again.
Does he have the building armor upgrade? I do wonder.
He doesn't actually.
No, so I mean, that would definitely help with the Locusts.
I guess Terran's just imbalanced.
Just imbalanced. I'm not going to go there, Maynard. Okay, so Reynor, he actually feels comfortable now to drone up a little bit. That's really important, because he's got 2 bases up now, and he's starting to get out an army that's actually really darn hard to kill, which is Infestor, Broodlord, and we said it all along, that's the kind of army you want against the army that SpeCial had previously. SpeCial, though, he's teched up. That is a lot of Thors.
Yeah, that's very, very scary to the army of Reynor. While he did take a good trade at the front, like he somehow made the army of SpeCial disappear back on his creep while we were watching the Locust harassment pick off that planetary. SpeCial has rounded out his composition to be very, very much anti-tier 3 Zerg. Gets cancelled there on that base here that Reynor in 2 places at once here, trying to stop these run-bys from happening in the natural. He is going to get those fungals there, and he is target firing on that planetary with the Locusts. Repairs from SpeCial, not enough this time, and it does go down.
I don't know how he's doing it, but Reynor's getting well back into this game, and if he uses these Infestors correctly, if he gets a burrow off and gets a few neural parasites on those Thors, that's an army that can definitely get defeated by these Infestors.
It's so anti-Broodlord, it's not very anti-ground army, and these Infested Terrans are certainly very annoying. The Fungals and the Infested Terrans combined, resetting that Viking count, pushing him way back on that air army. SpeCial is going to get a lot more Hellions here, and probably even a few more tanks. These Infestors are a huge problem for him.
A few minutes ago, SpeCial was so far ahead, like worker count was up to like 77 against like 39.
It's amazing.
Reynor's he's bounced back into this game in an incredible fashion. He's been struggling to get up a 4th base, and now he's at 191 supply with 53 workers. Still not the best spot economically, but he's getting back into it, eking out more drones. I'm loving the way that Reynor's playing.
This Swarmhost Nidus play is actually starting to really work out for Reynor. He sees this base as well. I mean, it is an orbital, so he can lift it if worse comes to worse. And with Reynor, with these borrowed lings, has vision as well to be able to get those Nidus worms, and Terran has to scan and get rid of them.
Oh, scanning for a single ling, that's so annoying, but that single ling later on with Adrenal Glands could wreak havoc on the base, so you have to, or just make a turret kind of thing.
Swarmhost getting up in the high ground here, more SCVs in their lines of sights, but he's actually able to just pull back here. He's taking a little bit of damage on that sensor tower. That area is normally really powerful Terran, but also pretty powerful for Zerg if they're going for Swarmhost Nidus.
This army of SpeCial is getting really scary, though, right? It's one of those armies that if you have Broodlords against it, oh, nice attempt at a run-by, but a nice shutdown. 12 SCVs fell, by the way. Was that just to the same locus at the top? Like, did you just keep the SCVs mining there?
I think they were long-distance mining, perhaps.
Oh, and got killed. Or maybe at this middle base against the locus. Either way, it's very annoying for SpeCial, because now he's the one with just 55 workers, and I'm not sure how many orbitals he has exactly, but he's definitely not super healthy. In fact, 3 orbitals.
It's not that many at all, is it, at this point of the game?
No, you want to be way richer than that. You want to be able to have like 8 orbitals, because one of the things that he has to really look out for here is burrowed Infestors with the Neural. With just 3 orbitals, when you're kind of starving a little bit to try and max out, it's rough.
Reynor is just getting these magic engagements. And SpeCial, one thing that he certainly doesn't need any more of is Thors. He's got a lot of Thors in this army, so the Broodlords can be dealt with. But Reynor's not really putting a whole stock into the Broodlord army. It's more about the Infestors and about these Locust harassments.
Yeah, that is such a blob of Infestors. Like, that's so scary. What does he really have to deal with them? There's no Ghost for EMP. There's no Liberators to keep them at bay. SpeCial, he's so brave to be out on the map against this kind of army, because I'd be worried as hell about like a Neural Parasite flank or something like that.
Certainly. He's able to just barely keep these tanks alive against the Lings there at Reynor, catching another Swarmhost Nidus attempt. Pushes him back. SpeCial's got a blob of units to the south as well. Advanced Ballistics on the way, and he has been making Liberators for a minute or so here.
Okay, I love that addition, because you need to keep those Infestors away from your Thors. Your Thors, they will kill everything as long as the Infestors don't control them and take them over.
All right, the Locust wave coming out here, and SpeCial is on creep. He's trying to pull back a little bit. The Lings trying to keep him in place. The Locust getting on top of this army. He target fires down those tanks as quickly as he can. Nice pickoffs there for Reynor. Very nicely done.
And that cost him nothing, Maynard.
Just Locusts.
Yeah, that was 30 supply that he killed. Now, I guess one thing for SpeCial is he can kind of remax on something else, like 4 Liberators, for example, which is definitely what he needs, getting out a few more SCVs, kind of getting the same old with the mech composition as well. But yeah, this is turning into a really crazy game now.
Both players maxed out, so it's still anybody's game, really. Like, it could easily swing in either direction, another bad fight or two in either way, and it's just a hard one to call at this point. Reynor keeps having these magical engagements. SpeCial keeps finding these damages on the armies, and also in picking off these hatcheries, getting drone kills.
If there's one thing I could say for Reynor, the creep spread is still not the best.
Yeah.
Like, having that spread out a little bit more. I mean, it's not as if he isn't trying. He's also getting a lot of spines here for the run-by, still trying with the Nidus networks as well. Oh, the Nidus got sniped, though.
Yeah, well, so they lost their ticket home, so they have to walk back, and he does get a couple of them killed. Nicely done there by SpeCial.
SpeCial starting his air upgrades now. He's really committing to the air, as he should be. 63 workers against the 48 of Reynor, but Reynor's trying to catch up in that regard. Reynor has managed to establish himself at 6th base at the bottom of the map, but it definitely took him a while to do so. And SpeCial producing a lot of command centers right now. He's back up to 5 orbitals, so he's doing all the right moves too against the army comp that he's against.
And getting on top of that Nidus worm. Swarm hosts just going to burrow themselves. They can, of course, still launch their locusts. SpeCial's got this area without creep to the left side of Reynor's infrastructure, and he's going to try and push into that new hatchery that you were talking about, Ben. Lots of Liberators this time. That's tricky for these Infestors.
It certainly is. So one of the ways that Reynor has to go about this, infested Terrans into the liberation zones, then trying to get the neural parasites down. Right now he's focusing on winning the air battle. Oh, but now the neurals start to connect.
The infested Terrans are popping out. The neurals are actually still helping him with these Thors, and the Thors also turning and firing on those Liberators. Reynor taking another fight here, just using the spell damage there on those Infestors to start taking out those Terran units. Nicely done by Reynor.
And you see how difficult this is for SpeCial to engage against. If he makes one foul move...
What?
Taking out the Greatest Spy, though. That's quite a play. No more Corruptors. But he immediately made 5 Corruptors as he saw it was dying. So that was a nice move by Reynor as well.
The sudden Hellbat run by into killing that Greatest Spire. You don't see it every day, but there it is. That's the Hive too, by the way. Surely you don't want to lose the Hive. That's quite bad.
So what does SpeCial need more of? I love the addition of the more Liberators, because they are the one thing that kind of stood their ground and kept the Infestors at bay, but also kind of killed the Infested Terrans and some of the Infestors. This amount of Infestors is scary, but a lot of their energy is depleted, so he can't just go gung-ho, I don't feel.
Well, the Hive does get saved for now. SpeCial getting into that static defense there. Just throwing away some Hellions and Cyclones. You know, this isn't the army that he really, really wants. He's getting more Thors, strangely enough, to replenish those numbers and deal with those Broodlords. He is still very, very worried about them. Lots of Infested Terrans here. Lots of Liberation Zones on top of those Infested Terrans, though. This is going to be a weird fight, but I think that SpeCial has enough.
Okay, this is one move by Reynor that kind of baffles me a little bit. The fact that he used up a lot of his energy, he should be waiting for SpeCial to attack into him, not the other way around.
Terrans.
Yeah, every time he uses a wave of Infested Terrans, I know he's trying to slow down the Terran from attacking, but he has to wait. He has to wait to get that energy for the neural parasite to win the fight.
And he gets a little bit of damage done with those Swarm Hosts, and that's all well and good, but can he stop this push of SpeCial? It looks very, very rough here. Well, those Broodlings coming on in, he's getting rid of some of that front line, the Liberation Zone, so killing so many of these Broodlings as they land, they just die so quickly, and this hatchery's in big trouble.
And he's doing counter damage on the other side of the map too. 14 SCVs fall, and he slows down SpeCial a little bit. But SpeCial, he smells blood in the water. He sees that those Infestors don't have that much energy. He can't stop the Liberators right now, and he can't stop the Thors either.
No Vipers, no Abducts, no nothing like that. So these Liberators are going to continue to siege on forward here, leapfrogging from the back line onto the front line as Terran gets closer and closer to the Zerg. A Ling run by here from Reynor doing a lot of SCV damage, but can he stop the Terran from straight up killing him right here is the big question in my mind.
Reynor, he's buying time, but he runs in a few nice Neurals here, but the Liberators set up here. He's taken out a lot of those Infestors. They're running into the zones, but I think he just took out all the Liberators as well. I think he's done it. I think he's going to survive.
Great engagement from Reynor. These Infestors coming in clutch, and he even does damage on the other side of the map in the meantime as well, killing 15 SCVs. Reynor with these magical engagements, you just don't expect it to happen, but SpeCial just can't finish him off.
What does it take to kill this kid? SpeCial was in such a good position this game. He's got one mining base left almost. Yes, the CC's around the map, and Reynor, he doesn't yet know about it, and that's a saving grace. SpeCial, 116 supply against the 196 of Reynor. Can we have a look at the resources lost tab for this game? Oh, he's been crazy efficient against SpeCial as well.
But he had to be, because SpeCial had that better economy for so long. Like, he was picking off hatcheries, he was killing drones. So while SpeCial was trading badly, he had no money to do so. Now he's getting punished for it. Oh, nice catch with these Vikings. So getting some of these Broodlords, 3 of them go down. So be careful about a fungal at the moment.
Wow.
Whoa.
He just killed the whole Broodlord
That's every Broodlord here.
And all the Infestors, they didn't have any energy to deal with this either. There was no Fungals or Infested Terrans. And now he's just switching back to a tank composition, which is pretty good against the Infestors.
That's exactly what he needs to do here to be able to deal with those Infestors. He doesn't have EMPs, obviously.
Oh, I tell you.
Infestors want those Vikings so bad. He's landing against the Infestors. What?
Flying around against those guys.
He's killed a bunch of them, actually.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Like, one of the things for him here is that he does have to keep depleting that Infestor energy, because one weakness of Mech against Infestors is the Neural Parasite every time. Both these players have been reset a lot. Oh, will this deal with... Oh, they're taking a lot of damage, are these Vikings?
Yeah, they're just getting fungled over and over here. That Infestor energy is being spent. These Swarm hosts don't have Locusts just yet, so SpeCial is starting to deal with them. And yeah, and Reynor's like, oops, not quite time. Not quite time, my pretties. We'll fly again another day.
It's such a tough position, right? Like, do I make orbital commands as my peripheral bases, or do I make them as PFs? Because the orbitals, I can at least lift them up against the Locusts, but they're going to die against the run-bys. And the run-bys, they can't deal with the PFs, but they deal with the orbital commands very easily.
Speaking of run-bys, looks like SpeCial was thinking about one there with the Hellions, but he pulls them back to the high ground. Infestors, Roaches, and Ravagers, and Lings coming to the front line to try and kill this planetary. Reynor's Infestor count, very, very scary here. SpeCial needs to be able to deal with them. It's so hard for him to deal with them, though. That Liberator count being reset.
And he's getting pulled apart here. Like, Reynor's doing all the right moves, and SpeCial, he's dealing with it well, as we can see. A Thor on the high ground to deal with those Niduses, but Reynor, he's just trying to pick 2 fights at a time and just spread and tax SpeCial, which is kind of a funny way around of doing this, because they're both multitask machines, actually.
Yeah, it's another catch there on the Vikings, so a couple of them are going to go down here. It's the Vikings for SpeCial, and he goes for a run-by before that static defense is done, so some drone's going to get killed here for sure. If he starts to A-click.
I was about to say if he starts attacking, but we see it now. The drone count is falling. 7 immediately go down.
Nicely done. Both players actually with a pretty sub-effective economy, but Reynor is on that front line with those Infestors again. The tanks do need to be respected here by Reynor. He's losing a few Swarm hosts, but the Locust Wave is going to get fired.
I'm so scared about these Locusts. Every time they're going to trade very efficiently, but he is running in with a lot of his Roaches and his Ravagers taking a lot of shots.
Yeah, he's keeping the Infestors safe, but lose a few Swarm hosts there. Does get a few tanks. The Hellions still putting on work on the Reynor's side of the map here. Those drones completely alone, and he can scan to finish them off if he wanted to.
It was kind of funny. Oh, and he does do exactly that. And Reynor, look at his drone count, man. He's down to 27 right now, and that number's going to keep on dwindling.
And he has no bank here, does Reynor. He's got a bit of gas, but that is not that many replenished units. If Reynor actually loses in a bad fight here, it'll be all over.
Does Reynor have a Spire again, or a Great Spire?
Yeah, he remade the Great Spire, yes.
Okay, that's awesome, because that's the kind of units that he needs to get back again, I feel. He's dealt with all the Vikings and such, but those Infestors, they need support.
Well, in comes some Locusts here from Reynor. He doesn't have that many Locusts, but he does get a good surround on the Thors. Is it enough to cut through? Doesn't look like it.
I'm getting a little bit scared for Reynor.
Me too.
Like, one of the things is his supply is super high, and look at his army value, well, rather, army supply is 138, so it's not as if he's going to dwindle and die anytime soon, but man, he's broke.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, SpeCial isn't exactly Rockefeller either. Doesn't have a ton of money, but he does have a big army that can trade very, very well against this. The Infestors are coming forward. They're looking for those Fungals and those Neurals again, and there they go. Infested Terrans as well. He is losing a lot of Infestors to those Siege Tanks, though, on the front line. The Infested Terrans coming on in, but Reynor also sandwiching from the left side here of this hatchery. He has the low ground. These tanks putting in work for SpeCial, but Reynor seems to have a lot of units here.
Oh, the Neurals, they go down. All the Thors are now mine, says Reynor, and he takes out the big army of SpeCial.
GG! Oh, it was like pulling teeth, but Reynor got there eventually. With a 2-1 victory, he finds himself on match point on King's Cove. Such a strong map for Mech TVZ, but Reynor finding the fights eventually. Well, the emphasis on eventually there in game number 3.
And looking at both their faces really tells the tale of what happened that game. Like, SpeCial, he looked a bit hurt there. He knew he was really far ahead, but this kid, man, he managed to make work of him. He ran around in circles and got a lot of damage done. And looking at that graph as well, like, that looked kind of mental. But Reynor, he was just smiling after that game, because I think he knows he was in a really bad position there. And it really felt like he learned how to deal with Mech as the game went on, which I thought was a super cool thing to see.
Yeah, just getting more and more of those Broodlords. The Infestors, of course, are always going to be your game plan. What was amazing about that was there was 0 Vipers in that game.
0, yeah.
0 Vipers. It was just Infestors with Nidus Swarm host play.
I really felt the Infestor usage, like later on he was like, okay, I'm going to use more and more Neurals as these fights go on. And he took over all those units. SpeCial did one of the right things there. He tried to get the tanks focus firing the Infestors, which happened for quite a while, but there was just too much. Eventually the tanks became his tanks, and then no longer were they on his side.
Certainly. I'm really excited for Game 4 here. This has been such a fun series so far. Both players clearly very, very closely matched. There's just one big maneuver. It usually ends the game towards the end, but the third game had so many huge maneuvers from both players. They looked like they were both crippled at one point, and it's like, no, wait, SpeCial's winning. No, wait, Reynor's winning. And you know what to do, Twitch chat.
I really feel that the one, like, true swing of action there was when Reynor sent that counterattack to the north base while getting attacked, and he defended both points while killing the base. And it was like a massive momentum swing. Then SpeCial was kind of on the back foot, which wasn't the way it was meant to be at all.
Oh, we are ready for game number 4, ladies and gentlemen. And we are being magically whisked away to Thunderbird here in the bottom right. In the blue, the Mexican Terran. This is SpeCial.
Got quite a fight on his hands, he does.
Certainly
as he's 1-2 down against Reynor. And spawning over in the top left side as our Red Zerg playing for Team GO, it is Reynor.
Game is Origins, great pickup for them. And Red Bull as well, a great pickup. This kid, he's got a salary. He does great in WCS. And he is already one of the strongest players in the history of the game. He's so, so good. Thunderbird, now, what do you think about this map for TVZ? This feels like an all right map for mech again. But it does have such huge openings in it and lots of weird choke points and features.
I'll be honest, Maynard, this is one of the maps that I choose to avoid against Zerg, especially against a good one. Like trying to deal damage early on with Hellions. There's only one spot into all 3 of those bases as a Terran player, and trying to get up that ramp against Queens or Lings in the right positions. Usually the 3-base economy kicks in way faster and way safer on this map than any other. So it's kind of rough to start on, but you're totally right. Playing mech, you can expand very easily, getting your own safe 3 bases. So quite often we can see much greedier openings on this map than any other. And by the way, a Marine opening to start things off.
Yeah, it's going to save a bit more of that gas for the faster factory, I suppose. Going for that expansion there on the low ground. So it's the biggest map, so it's got a lot of space here for both players, and even harder for run-bys than Acropolis. So SpeCial is going to get that factory down there to follow things up.
This feels like one of those real old-school openings where you knew exactly where the Overlords were going to fly, and where there's a spot where you can pick off the Overlord kind of thing. But Reynor's been a lot more careful with his Overlord scouting. One didn't just cross straight across the map. They kind of went around for the proxies, which I do like that, and I do respect that. Oh, what's this?
Interesting. Proxy starport, maybe? What's he doing with this SCV here?
I have no idea, Maynard. This is very unusual.
I mean, proxy starports, I've seen them before.
It absolutely could be, and trying to fly the Hellions in from a different angle, into the main base, across the third.
And it's starting to look more and more like it here. SpeCial tucking it right against the top of the map here. It's going to be a starport by the looks of things. And the Marines didn't catch any of those Overlords. Looks like there's one right in the middle there that they could pick off, but they've pulled back to the natural.
If he ran back over there, he would be able to get it right now. Because there's no way for that to escape. And
for sure.
You were right, Maynard. It will be a starport. So he's utilizing the map. It's very difficult to get there by ground into those 3 bases, but by air, nothing's stopping him.
Yeah. So do you think medevac ferry with the Hellions here?
Oh, yeah. I think that's what he's got in store for us here. He's not making any more Marines, so I don't think it's going to be any sort of Hellbat play. And the thing is, I did like the fact that he went for the 2 Marines and did search for an Overlord, because again, it's a weird opening, and so far the weird stuff's been working for him. And right now he's just kind of showing that despite the Reaper, everything looks very, very normal for him.
And there's that medevac from the starport, so we are going to see some Hellions going to be ferried into the main base, trying to find damage in the main of the Zerg. And, I mean, we were just finishing talking about Thunderbird, how it's so hard for run-bys, but if you can fly the run-bys, that's a different story.
Exactly. So I do like the way that SpeCial does play the game. He's very thoughtful and very committed. A Baneling Nest does start, which that's a nice safety play, because even though it is a nice map view and you have Queens at the top of the ramp, a big Hellbat all-in could come at any point. Ooh, Fusion Core starts up as well. After making a proxy starport as well, that's really cool.
So I guess he's going to be making a battlecruiser proxied?
I think so. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a second starport or something appear in the main base as well, given the opening. It's a very strange opening.
He is getting a tech lab on that starport. And there's the Hellions in the main base. The Overlord of Reynor did show him that the Hellions were coming in with that medevac, so he actually covers it very nicely.
He was very quick to react there. This drop, it hasn't dealt any damage. Now, these Marines, they do come in handy and take out the Overlord, which they were designed to do, but much earlier, just to throw Reynor off a little bit.
Reynor is certainly not going to know about this battlecruiser play, but he is going to probably feel like there's a proxy starport. So if he gets on top of that starport while it's making a BC, that's going to be a problem for SpeCial, surely.
It definitely could be. These Lings, they are marching across the map, and they want to deal damage, obviously, but it's a lot about information. He still doesn't know about the proxy. Oh my gosh. That would have been a real wounder. That was 1 hit from kill there, and that would have really slowed down SpeCial and allowed Reynor just to drone up like a crazy person.
Yeah, wouldn't have any map control.
Does he have any spores? I know he's making 1 right now, but if he has 1 per base, then he's in pretty good shape. Just 1 so far. 2.
Okay. I mean, that's cutting a few corners here. And with the Overlord denial on the other side of the map, he definitely doesn't have too much indication on what Special's going for. He knows about the Marines, he knows about the Hellions. There's that Ling looking for that starport.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
He sees it.
Wow.
And when you don't see anything on that tech lab, you've got to be thinking that that is something a little bit more sinister than a Liberator here.
Yeah, be it a Raven or a BC. I mean, that was a crazy scout. I love the fact that he made the Spore Crawlers at an appropriate time. Like, just because there is a starport on the map, he's assuming there's a starport in the base, and he had to assume something else was coming. But the thing is, that scout was beautiful.
Absolutely. So, Reynor, continuing the Queen production as you would anyway at this point for the Zerg to make sure that you're safe against the Hellion defense, and they'll help out with the BCs as well, as BC number 1 is done for Special, and he starts a second one along with weapons refit being halfway done, which means he's going to continue to push on that BC number while getting some mech units, but it looks like things that armory starts to finish up.
This is going to be a Hellbat attack at the front too with the medevac. Like, this is going to be a two-pronged thing, and this could catch Reynor off guard, but does he have Banelings? He does. Oh my gosh, is this going to happen?
Oh no! Loses all of his Hellbats to the front line. Special wasn't looking, and both of those prongs get knocked back real hard. Great defense from Reynor.
Do you know what was super incredible about that too? He didn't attack with the Lings first. There was no signal on the minimap or like, oh, look, you're under attack. It was straight away with the Banelings. He knew what was coming, and he reacted perfectly. Great, great defense by Reynor.
Brilliant stuff, and he is having a wonderful early game here. The BC turns around again, and he gets taken down. Oh, man. And I don't know if we're going to see a second BC here. Reynor on top of that proxy. He is all over Special in game number 4.
Oh, Special's falling apart at this moment. And no, I don't think that BC is going to make it.
And that means these Hellions are going to try to engage these Lings, and they do push them back. But that is such a great play from Reynor. Ahead in every single regard right here to Muslim, not lacking Special's follow-up here.
No, look at Special. He's in such a bad spot. My voice is going from watching this. I am feeling for Special right now. He is making a mech again, and he's getting upgrades. He's getting a second armory. But Reynor's supply, this is the furthest he's been ahead in any of these games at the start. And given the fact that he was so good at coming back, it's not looking good for Special. But this is one way to try and get back into the game. Damage is being done here.
And he's getting some trying kills. Does lose his ticket out of there, though. The medevac gets taken down. The Hellions just trying to do what they can before they get their lives snatched away from them there from that Lynx around, and the Roach is finishing them off. So 6 drones go down. Special's economy still not bad. He still has 66 workers, a 4th CC in production. So, I mean, the dream is still alive here for Special, but certainly a rough start.
Whoa, Nidus just started. So Reynor's up to 4 base economy right now, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to make my opponent's life very, very difficult. I know I've done a lot of damage. I shut down all of his harass, and I'm going to be the one putting on the pressure very soon.
Absolutely. Blue Flame on the way here, those mech upgrades kicking in, but of course a little bit later than they normally would have been if Special was having a little bit of an easier time trading against the Zerg in the early stages of the game. And the Nidus Worm is about to be completed here. I like these 1-1 melee upgrades here for the Zerg. That is actually very, very effective against the early game mech units. Makes the Banelings and the Lings a little bit stronger in tandem.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And not opting for the range upgrade is a little weird again for me, because I do feel that the attack upgrades are much more significant in this matchup. Special, though, we give Reynor a lot of credit for what's went wrong in this game for Special, but he's managed to get himself up to a really darn good drone count, and he chose a corner to cut, and it was economy. So he really went ham on the SVs, super duper ham, and he's up to a 4-base situation now. So I like that for him, but he's going to be under a lot of pressure from Reynor very soon.
Look at how much creep spread there is on the map as well, and Special has not been able to slow that down. Reynor is taking over Thunderbird here, and it's such a large map, so it's takes a while normally unless you're as good as Reynor.
Setting up for this multi-pronged Nidus aggression too is super cool by him. Special is opting out of the tanks and going for the Cyclone Hellion, which is a lot better against this kind of stuff, but it's still going to be extremely rough.
As that first Locust wave heading towards the Natural, Special sending his units to try and get that Nidus Worm. The Natural is under siege from these Locusts. Going for the Armories again, and he's going to get that upgrade. Nice pick off there, slowing down the Terran again.
Oh, that's super bad. I mean, one of his only advantages here is for Special is his upgrades. He's getting some damage done again with the Hellions. The Burrow, by the way, a really good addition, because every time he wants to kill extra units, he has to scam.
This is actually very scary. That's a lot of Zerg right here, and not a whole lot of protection for those tanks. He does have a nice high ground tank. 3 of them protecting that Planetary on the front line here as well. Can Special hold this line here against the swarm of Zerg?
Oh, it takes out the Nidus, so no super fast reinforcements, but the map is covered in creep at this point, in very weird blobs everywhere. Oh, another Nidus just to back it up anyhow, so kill one Nidus, there's always another one, and the wave of Locusts is coming.
Yeah, and there's 2 fresh CCs being dropped here, so they're going to be killed or cancelled. He's going for the tanks, though. Tanks are starting to fall in numbers here. Reynor pressing the advantage. Oh, that high ground tank putting in a lot of work for the Terran. He does have those Cyclones pushing back the Roach and the Ravager here are the Zerg. Special holding on still for now, but he lost a lot of his tanks.
Oh, and a cheeky big burrow there. He wanted to make some magic happen. And the thing is, Reynor's still at 200 supply. He's making so many basic units here, and he took out so many of the things, like the tanks that deal with those basic units.
The Nidus is being used again here for Reynor. Those Swarm hosts about to be off cooldown for some more harassment, making Banelings here as well, just in case the Hellions and the Cyclones come to get that Nidus worm. I love where his head's at here. Hellion run by as the drones start to stack up and transfer, but quick reaction from Reynor. He deflects this attack here, SpeCial.
He's going to do this 3-prong aggression, I do believe. Those Banelings at the 5th or 4th base of SpeCial, they're going to go in as the Locusts go in.
Oh, man. He pulls back. Good reaction from SpeCial, but the Locusts are in that natural, getting more SCV kills. At least he didn't take the big hit there at the Planetary.
Very patient by Reynor to pull back with those Banelings,
upgrade. Doesn't quite have enough life on those Locusts.
Spire is in production. We do have +2 armor finishing and +2 weapons on the way for Reynor. He's still at 200 supply, and now he has enough money to throw down a lot of static defense. SpeCial, though, 86 workers, Maynard.
Yes, he has been macroing like a madman, trying to get that worker count up.
And to be fair to him, considering that he lost a BC, lost his, like, 10 Hellbats to 5 Banelings, he's doing a damn good job of staying alive.
Look at the minimap, though. It is all Zerg. How does he break out of this position? He needs an amazing fight.
Oh, he certainly does. And he's doing a decent job of trading. That's a lot of Banelings, by the way. That is, oh my gosh.
SpeCial needs to react immediately here. He's going to be losing a lot, including the Planetary. He might be looking at those Locusts. The Banelings are rolling on forward, and he is going to bust through that Planetary, even taking a tank down as well. That was a lot of gas, a lot of minerals for Reynor, but considering the situation that SpeCial's in, I think that's worth it.
He did one thing that was super cool. He made one Baneling go ahead of the rest to take the initial shot of the tank, so the rest of the Banelings got in there scot-free.
Very nicely done by Reynor. Gets a few of those static defense there. Sensor towers, of course, going down as well. Really abusing those mineral patches that haven't been mined out for SpeCial, so he can't really go through there just yet. Great Aspire on the way here for Reynor, starting to round out some of that tier 3. The Banelings rolling in again. SpeCial's army is dancing outside of them, though.
Ghost Academy and 3 barracks being added on. We are going to the late stages, and this could be Ghost Mech here, which is super cool to see.
I think that's, honestly, the way that SpeCial wins this game is to slow it way down and just trade efficiently against Reynor here, is just keeping his foot on his neck and just trying to do more and more damage. The Locusts looking for that little army of Cyclones here. They're not attacking the SCVs, not attacking the orbital, so the economy of SpeCial largely untouched.
What is the resources tab looking like right now? Because wow, I mean, it's fairly even to say how much of a brunt SpeCial took early on. I think that's a lot of credit to SpeCial for just surviving so far and equalizing the supplies here, but Reynor, he's building up a massive bank, and he is going to the ultimate tech army, which is Broodlords.
I love that SpeCial's also getting double engineering bay upgrades for these ghosts as well, so they actually have a little bit more utility as they stand and fight. That's where that Nidus worm in front of that third base. Still not knocking down those minerals just yet, but it does open up a path for the Zerg to attack him, so I don't blame him for that.
And this is a really nice position to launch the Locust from. It's behind that wall. SpeCial does see it. He scans it. They actually land on the Hellions, which is a pretty nice landing spot for SpeCial. So he deals with them without taking too many losses.
Still Zerg everywhere on Thunderbird at the moment as Reynor comes forward with the Roaches, the Ravagers, and the Lings. SpeCial has so many tanks, my god.
This is just relentless from Reynor. Like, he's finding so many ways to deal damage. I wouldn't be surprised if he uses this Nidus to then use drones to, like, mine out that wall, you know what I'm saying? Just for another point of attack.
Turret burns down there, gets damaged by those vials. So this is just chip damage for Reynor. He still just tries to find anything that he can take for as efficiently as possible here against SpeCial. Anytime he can clear up a turret or a sensor tower or bile down a tank would certainly be lovely here for Reynor. SpeCial baiting out an engagement here, but Reynor with a lot of units. Maybe SpeCial biting off a little bit more than he can chew here.
SpeCial's doing a really good job. Like, he's moving out very carefully, and for the first time in a while, he's got a bit of a supply lead. I mean, that doesn't really say much because Reynor just maxed out on Corruptors, so the ultimate tech is coming.
Locust waves coming in on this base. He can lift it if he needs to, but he just seems to be tanking it, literally. 8 SCVs do go down, so SpeCial is taking hits to his economy, but still constantly has mid-70s or higher in that work account.
SpeCial is really committing to the Ghost, by the way. He's got more barracks being done, more Ghost Academies being done, and +1/+1 has started for them as well, or rather it's coming to an end here, so this is really, really cool to see.
Does he go for, I guess you just keep those upgrades coming for those ghosts. He's trying to surprise Reynor with them. Oh, Reynor on top of this base, looking for those SCVs, does get a connection there, killing 9 of them. But still, SpeCial's economy is not that bad, all things considered.
66 workers do still remain, and he's still on a decent supply as well. He's making 4s now, he's getting ghosts, but 10 Broodlords all at once. How rich is this kid?
He's pretty rich. Yeah, Reynor certainly in the advantage here against SpeCial, doing a great job all game long. As hopefully he is on top of these ghosts when they start to hit. Getting some nice bio connections there as well. Anything he can do, thinning out these Hellions, getting these Cyclones for as free as possible using these Lings.
How many ghosts are out? I know he's producing
A lot.
5 at a time. 10 ghosts?
And he's going up to 15.
Oh, but these Locusts
nice
getting on top of
Locust.
the tanks.
Very nice Locust here from Reynor, getting Cyclones and tanks, and also the Sensor Tower going down as well. And the Orbital's taking a lot of damage, but they don't look like they're going to burn down just yet. Well, the one to the north does.
Ooh.
Oh, the Ghosts sniping those Broodlords. He gets one of them there.
But the supply, Maynard, the supply, he just lost so much to do it. And these Ghosts, they kind of ran out of energy. And the Banelings...
Does he have not cloaking? Doesn't have cloaking?
I think he does. Yeah,
he does. Okay.
It costs a lot of energy, though, to get away with it.
Certainly does.
And so if he's left to his, own, if he's going to play single player here, getting Ghost energy is all well and good. But if Reynor just keeps on firing, it's the same as the Infestor situation. Keep the energy low and then keep going.
Now SpeCial's breaking off a Ghost for a
49
nuke harassment.
Banelings?
Yeah, I think Reynor's realized that SpeCial might not have enough splash damage to stop this many Banelings. He's going to go full dark here, I think.
And his bank has been totally depleted to get here as well. I mean, he's down to 500 minerals. This could be a nice Ghost, though, if he starts doing some nuke play.
Oh, I don't know if Reynor cares. He really wants to attack.
Okay, so these Locusts, they will start off.
The tanks are unsieged. So many Banelings here from Reynor. He's rolling into that front line. Doesn't trade effectively. The Ghosts are all going to die here. The tanks of SpeCial also going down. Reynor attacking straight through SpeCial, and he gets himself a victory. 3-1. Keeping that winning record against the Mexican Terran, and SpeCial, unfortunately, no back-to-back finals appearances for him this time.
No, I mean, SpeCial put up a darn good fight, and he pulled out some crazy stuff against Reynor, but Reynor just showing that he is all-round too good. His defense was great, his offense, amazing. I'm just so impressed with Reynor. The only player he's lost to in a WCS LAN event is SpeCial himself, and he's looking like he's poised to make another finals appearance.
And it continues to only be SpeCial as he continues to do massive damage in the WCS bracket. If you're not a fan of this kid, start now. I certainly am. The Muslim certainly is. He's such a treat and an entertaining player to watch.
The way that he marched in there with all those Banelings, he just made 49. I don't know how many he already had, but he shut down those Ghosts. Even though there's a lot of tanks, there was just way more Reynor. And Reynor, oh man, what a smiley kid. And we will be hearing